To the Union, Senator Bernie Sanders is back on the campaign trail trying to sell voters in Middle America on Democrats'
700 years old, bro. 700 years old. And he's campaigning across the country, like doing more than Joe Biden right now to sell this thing. Can you imagine? Dude, we do not deserve Bernie Sanders, man. We really don't. I mean, look. We literally do not deserve him. We don't. We deserve the Joe Manchins of the world. We don't deserve Bernie Sanders.
$3.5 trillion plan to expand.
Imagine going on CNN as a Democratic senator with a 50-50 split and having CNN not backing you, LMAO. Yeah, I mean, it's because it's so disingenuous that, like, it's easy to tackle. It, like, makes for good content. It's kind of wild that the thing that is really frustrating about this, though, is that, like, Joe Manchin didn't even do the work. Like, that's such a spit on the faces of, like, every American that's, like, desperate and looking for help from the government. That every constituency across the board that absolutely would benefit tremendously from infrastructure spending, whether it's like healthcare for the elderly or childcare. Like, the guy who is holding this process up has the audacity to go on national television for his own personal branding endeavor, and he didn't even do the research, he didn't even do the work to just be like, here are my talking points, actually. Like, that's how little this guy gives a f, and it doesn't matter.
And the child care tax credit, paid leave, along with new investments battling the climate crisis. But right now, his focus is on a key Senate Democrat. He
never worked a working class job in his life, Piker. Yeah, don't speak for yourself, douche. You're right, dude. Everything I'm saying must be horribly wrong, dude. Everything I'm saying must be horribly wrong. You're right. Yeah, no, tax me less, dude. Like, if you're coming in here and you do not have a deed for a factory, okay, and you're coming in here and you make less money than I do, and you're literally saying, like, you should be taxed less, you fucking dumbass. Shut the fuck up. Stop advocating to tax yourself higher. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You're just such an idiot, dude. You're advocating to make your situation worse. And what blows my mind is, like, why do you expect me to fucking change my principles and values now that I make more money? Like, that's the worst part about it, is, like, you think I was, you think I just, like, fucking plopped out in this situation, in this financial situation? Are you fucking stupid? The same motherfuckers who are like, Jank made you, bro. Jank made your career. Yeah, like, yeah, that's why I'm, like, fucking, 10xing TYT's numbers right now since I left TYT. Because he just paid him too much to come and watch me instead. Christ. I mean, I love Jank, and of course, obviously, he did legitimately help me a lot, but goddamn, dude.
must convince to get any of this done. Senator Joe Manchin. Here's Bernie Sanders. Joining me now is the chairman of the Senate Budget Committee and the author of the reconciliation bill, Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont. Thank you so much for joining me. First, your colleague, Joe Manchin, just explicitly told me repeatedly he will not support your $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill. He wants to see something more in the ballpark of $1.5 trillion. Is that acceptable to you?
No, it is absolutely not acceptable to me. I don't think it's acceptable to the president, to the American people, or to the overwhelming majority of the people in the Democratic caucus. Look, we worked with Senator Manchin to pass the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan, which was enormously consequential and helpful to working class families in getting us out of the economic disaster that befell us as a result of COVID. I believe we're going to all sit down and work together and come up with a $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill, which deals with the enormously unmet needs of working families. You know, we've got to lower the cost of prescription drugs for people. We've got to expand Medicare to include dental, hearing aids, and eyeglasses. We have to maintain the $300 direct payment we're giving to working parents which have lowered childhood poverty in America by 50%. And I'll tell you what else we have got to do. The scientists will tell us that we got a few years left before there will be irreversible harm to our planet if we do not address climate change.
Like, this dude's gonna die, dude. I'm sorry to, I'm sorry to remind everybody, but like, he's not gonna see the worst consequences of climate change, okay? How is it that like one of the oldest members in the Senate is one of the best advocates against the irreparable harm that climate change is causing on this planet right now? It's nuts.
Change. And the truth of the matter is, Dana, as you may know, many of us made a major compromise in going from the $6 trillion bill that we wanted, supported by the overwhelming majority of Democrats, down to 3.5. And the last point that I would make on this, I know that Senator Manchin worked very hard. Oh, it's called the Bipartisan Infrastructure Bill, $550 billion of new money to rebuild our roads and our bridges. What we have worked on is working both of those bills in tandem. They go together. And it would be a really...
I will never understand how Americans can listen to this guy and look at this like 80-year-old man fighting his fucking ass off to pass bills that will help people that will never even touch him, okay? To leave a better future, a better tomorrow for American generations to come. And then they're still like, he's a grifter, he's a piece of shit. I just don't understand how you can fucking look at this dude. Look how much he cares. Look at what he's done throughout his entire life and go, he has 3 houses. Fuck that guy. He's yet another hypocrite commie. Fuck him. There is some fraud behind every selfless act. Conservatives do not understand the concept of empathy. Yeah, it's just like, it's nuts. It's just fucking nuts. It's insane. A dude who's like literally busted his ass his entire fucking life, dude. So sad.
Sad state of affairs for the American people, for Congress, if both of those bills went down.
Do you think that's possible, that could happen right now?
Yeah. I don't think it will happen. I mean, I think, look, this is a very difficult issue. What we are trying to do in this bill is more significant for...
Society grows great when old men plant trees, the shade of which they will never enjoy. Wow, that's a beautiful quote.
Working families than any bill probably since FDR and the New Deal. I mean, we're talking about expanding Medicare. We're talking about making sure that no working family in America pays more than 7% of their income for childcare, making pre-K universal and free, putting a huge amount of money into affordable housing, creating millions of good-paying jobs, home health care, you name it. This is a consequential bill. It is hard to put a bill like this together. At the end of the day, I believe we will.
Okay, and I want to ask you about more of the substance in a second, but the other thing that Senator Manchin is opposed to is the timeline. Chuck Schumer wants to have a draft of this reconciliation bill done by Wednesday. The House Speaker committed to holding a vote by September 27th. He said that's not going to happen, full stop. Are you willing to give it more time?
Well, I mean, a few days here or there, it doesn't matter. But there is a sense of urgency. And the sense of urgency is that we live in a country today where the wealthiest people and the largest corporations are doing phenomenally well, while working class people are struggling all over this country in terms of health care. You know, you got 90 million people uninsured or underinsured. People can't afford to pay prescription drugs, can't afford to send their kids to college. Kids are leaving school deeply in debt. You got almost 600,000 people in America who are homeless today. And you got the climate crisis. You know, Oregon is burning, California is burning, Siberia is burning. You know, people are dying in floods in New York City, unprecedented rainfall. There is a sense of urgency, which I think the American people understand. And what they want is finally, maybe, just maybe, the Congress of the United States will act for them and not just for the wealthy campaign contributors and the rich and the powerful, who, by the way, are pouring huge amounts of money. The drug companies, the insurance companies, fossil fuel industry, huge amounts of money in trying to defeat us.
Okay, let's actually talk about that, because Senator Manchin said pretty explicitly he's opposed to the clean energy provisions that you are going to put into this bill as you write it. He also wants to see more evidence that the child tax credit is working and it's going to the proper people, not wealthier people, before making it permanent. He doesn't support raising the corporate tax rate as high as you want. So this isn't just about the overall dollar figure. It's not just about the timeline. It's a disagreement, a pretty deep disagreement about some of the fundamental priorities that you have been talking about. How do you bridge that?
But, but Dana, please understand that within the context of the Democratic caucus, and I hope everybody in America knows, we have no Republican support for this.
Somebody was saying that like Bernie is all talk, and all fluff and whatever. I forget who it was. Holy shit. Let me see if I can find the tweet. Okay, I can't find it. Did you guys find it?
We're talking about Mr. Manchin, but the real outrage is that you got not one Republican who are prepared to extend the $300 direct payment for working parents so that they can raise their children in security and dignity. Not one Republican is prepared to help us take on the existential.
Oh, never mind. It was a Republican. It was a Republican. It was a Republican. It was a Republican. It was this guy. Matt Whitlock, the NRSC former Senate Republicans communications guy, Orrin Hatch. Bernie's actually doing the nice bipartisan infrastructure bill you got there. Would be a shame if something happened to it. I love responses from Bernie fans saying he's awesome for doing this. The bipartisan bill already passed the Senate. Bernie has no leverage to stop it now, and he voted for it without the $3.5 trillion attached. In classic Bernie fashion, he talks a big game and accomplishes nothing. Like, dude, how do you work in the Senate and not understand how the fuck this works, dude? Like, how? How have you worked in the Senate? And also, you were a part of like the Republican communications infrastructure for the Republican Party, and you're unaware of the plan of action to push for both of these, to push like a double bill. Anyway, it's really frustrating. Keep going.
Threat of climate change. Now, in terms of taxation, at a time when you have billionaires and large corporations in this country, in some cases not paying a nickel in federal income tax, you know what? We should and can pay for this entire $3.5 trillion bill, which, by the way, extends over 10 years. We should pay for it by demanding the wealthiest people, largest corporations in this country to start paying their fair share of taxes. And if Mr. Manchin wants to pay for it completely, I am delighted. I know that Senator Wyden, chairman of the Finance Committee, delighted to work with him. We can do that.
And again, what he's said is that is one issue, paying for it. But the broader question is the real differences on the question of your priorities here, but also just the raw math. You mentioned Republicans not being on board. I don't need to tell you this is a 50-50 Senate. If Senator Manchin or even Kyrsten Sinema in Arizona doesn't support this, you will not get the votes. How do you get there?
Look,
are you willing to compromise on any of this?
I compromised.
Additionally, I know you did. Additionally.
No. Look, don't make this a Bernie Sanders versus Joe Manchin issue. It is not.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to. I'm trying.
Dana.
As the budget chairman, you have a.
Donna. Donna. Let me be clear, Donna. What the fuck is a Donna? Yo, I love him so much.
You have a negotiating position, you and the White House and the leadership. So I don't mean to make it about you. Just how do you, the Democratic leadership in the White House, get to a place where there's something that can be done?
Well, I think I'll tell you how we get it. I'll tell you how we get it, because the American people are going to speak out on this issue. Every single poll that I have seen, whether you are a Democrat or a working class Republican or an independent, overwhelming support for this bill. The President of the United States wants it. Now, this is not like a 50-50 split in the Democratic caucus. You may know this. I'm chairman of the Budget Committee. On the Budget Committee are 11 Democrats. 9 of them were prepared to support a $6 trillion bill. I would guess at least 40 Democrats out of 50 understand that we need at least $6 trillion. So there's already been a significant compromise. But the bottom line here is, if you think about the House as well, these two bills, the bipartisan infrastructure bill and the reconciliation bill, are marching down the path together.
Yeah.
Mr. Manchin, I know, worked very hard on the bipartisan bill. It would be a terrible thing for the American people if both of those bills failed. They are linked together. They're going to go forward together.
Yeah, and that's my final question to you, because you know that a lot of your fellow progressives in the House are saying explicitly they will not vote for the infrastructure bill that's already passed the Senate.
And I agree with them. Donna, let me be clear. I think they're doing exactly the right thing because promises have been made, agreements have been made. We want a physical infrastructure bill. We have to rebuild our roads and our bridges. That's important. Human infrastructure is more important. We cannot continue to have elderly people unable to hear, no teeth in their mouths, children who can't get decent childcare. We cannot afford not to deal with climate. We have got to do that in this unprecedented moment in American history. Two bills go together. At the end of the day, I believe we're going to pass them both.
Senate Budget Chairman Bernie.
Hold that fucking frame, baby. That's Sigma behavior.